Nancy Pelosi not giving up the fight against Justice Kavanaugh. In a statement last night, she writes the GOP's decision to confirm Brett Kavanaugh to the Supreme Court has wounded the very soul of justice in our country. To preserve the full record of this dark chapter, I am filing a FOIA request, Freedom of Information Act, so the public can see the FBI report, transcripts of interviews, instructions from the White House. This is important to set the record straight. Here to weigh in on this statement, our panel, former Democratic member of the Ohio State Senate, Capri Cafaro, along with Ops Lens writer and former official under George W. Bush, Bart Marquez. Guys, thanks for coming on this morning.
Morning.
Capri,
thank you, Rob.
These statements coming from Democrats in the wake of this seem a bit ridiculous. It's almost as if to say, how can you not let us destroy this man's entire life and career based on uncorroborated allegations? What do you think of what Nancy Pelosi had to say?
Look, we need to be careful about this as Democrats. And while, you know, more information and transparency is always good, and I said this last week, actually, that, you know, having the 302s out there and having more information out there would be good for the public, because without that information, there would just be rampant speculation. But, you know, at this point, you know, he is now Justice Kavanaugh, and we need to find a way to move on and heal the nation. And if we continue to go down this road where we are just, you know, picking away at this issue, I think that we run the risk of alienating, particularly independents, in places like, you know, where I'm from in Ohio. So I would caution Nancy Pelosi that, you know, that's fine. Transparency is great. But to hang, you know, the midterm elections on this issue, I would caution against that.
It's interesting. Yeah, Bart, what do you think we learned? I mean, these were all locked up in a safe and nobody could see them except the senators. What do you think there is to learn from this? He still got confirmed after the senators read these reports.
Yeah, there really isn't much to learn from it. And I have to say, I hope it's not bad manners to agree with your opponent in a debate, because I agree with Ms. Cafaro completely. It's time to move on and walk away from this. You know, this is not the Democratic Party of my youth that's doing this. This is the hard left that's trying to drive the Democratic Party to the left, and it's bad news for Democrats if they continue this. Pelosi doesn't care. Sorry, Speaker Pelosi doesn't care because she's from San Francisco. But for people in Youngstown or in my hometown of Bakersfield, it's the same kind of people in where I come from.
Hey, Capri, that's a good point. You know, most Democrats are not fanatical social justice warriors. You know, most of them are pretty normal people as far as politics goes. Do they risk losing the base with this kind of rhetoric?
Well, this is what I've been cautioning against. You know, unfortunately, what has happened in this Kavanaugh circumstance is that what the Democrats look like are these, you know, Soros-backed, you know, crazy people that have been screaming on Capitol Hill. And again, you know, whether they're paid or not, who knows? But, you know, the rest of the country.
I think we learned that they were paid. We did learn that.
Certainly some are, but you know, there's a lot of people out there that, you know, are upset about this, and that's fine. But 99% of regular people in the rest of America are not out there with their hair on fire. So again, they're more concerned about the economy. They're more concerned about health care. And if we are, you know, fixating on this kind of thing, we run the risk in 30 days of, you know, losing the momentum that we've had, you know, coming in the last few months.
Yeah. Bart, Democrats allege that the FBI helped to whitewash this investigation, kind of it did a lackluster job trying to cover up Kavanaugh. It's interesting to see them criticizing the FBI after all that they gave Trump, all the criticism they gave Trump for doing the same thing.
Well, and it's a little two-faced also, because they knew very well what was going to come out of this investigation. I've been subject to 3 FBI background investigations in the course of my career. I had 3 different levels of security clearance. Yeah. And each time they went back to when I was 17. If this had been out there, they would have found it the very first time. They ask exactly those kinds of questions. Yeah. All they did was go back to the same people, ask the same questions, and everyone knew that there was nothing out there for them to find. It was just a delay tactic.
That's very interesting. Guys, thanks so much for your time this morning. We appreciate it. Capri,
it's a pleasure.
Thanks.
All right, it's time to check in with Steve Doocy now to see what's coming up on Fox and Friends. Good morning, Steve.
Hello, Jillian. Hello, Rob. Yep, I'm back from Florida, and coming up on today's big telecast, we've got the Kansas Secretary of State, Chris Kobach.